Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Tea with Me Tuesday. I hope you have your beverage of choice, whether it be coffee or tea, water, pop, booze, wine. If you're watching this first thing in the morning, wine's not a good idea. All right, so another couple of weeks until Valentine's Day. I've been doing a few things and kind of got a little sidetracked with a few things. And I went back over some of my videos that I did a few years ago. And there was one video that, kind of story time here. There was one video that I did, and I think I called it Post-Valentine. And what I talked about was, being single and Valentine's Day sometimes can be annoying, or it can be a blessing, depending on how you look at it. And over the years, when I was really young and on my own, if I didn't have a boyfriend, man friend, whatever, Valentine's Day used to bug the hell out of me, because all of my friends had boyfriends who were buying them jewelry and taking them out to dinner and, the whole whatever. And I have to admit, I think I was a little bit jealous. And as I got older and was on my own longer, and once my children left home and went on their own to be with their boyfriends and girlfriends and future husbands and so on, I found that Valentine's Day didn't really bug me too much. It was just another day, and I think I felt more like, as long as I bought my children a Valentine card to say that I love you or whatever, I did that occasionally. Not very often, but I did that occasionally. And as I got older and older, I really felt blessed to be single, because I would say closer into my 50s, as I saw my friends who married young and had their children, had their honeymoon, had their everything else, were miserable. And we're totally miserable. And the fakeness of Valentine's Day really bugged the hell out of me. Because I thought, these guys that were my girlfriend's husbands, who were jerks most of the time, or were complacent, or they just, they kind of took things for granted after a while. And my girlfriends used to always say, "Oh, you're so lucky to be single and not have to worry about this and not have to worry about that." Well, they didn't have to remind me, because I really loved being single. I loved being on my own. And I have to preface that, because a lot of people are not happy alone. A lot of women, a lot of men. My brother was not a person to live alone when he was young. He always felt he needed someone in his life. And I never felt that. I never felt I needed to have someone in my life. Friends, yes, but I'm talking about a lover, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever. So over the years, my friends would say, you're really lucky, and things like that. But there were always those, and I had one girlfriend in particular who just couldn't imagine her life without a man, and yet she had a hard time finding one. Sometimes she was not picky, and believe me, she should have been. And sometimes she got lucky and found a nice guy, but it only lasted a little while. So to me, all of that desperateness, I think, is felt and projected. And I never felt that at all. I loved being on my own. I had a lot of men friends. I mean, I had friends I could call up anytime and say, let's go out to dinner, or let's go to a movie, or let's go see this concert, or let's, whatever the case may be. I was very lucky when I was in my 40s and 50s to have men friends that were available that way. I mean, eventually most of them found true love or second true love or third true love and moved on or moved away or whatever. And we may have lost touch because of that, and that's fine. I was okay. I was always okay and never really felt less than myself, less than perfect. I do recall in my early 40s that I felt that the world was made up of two people, young and free, which I wasn't becoming, I was getting older, or family. I mean, basically, you were either gay and in a relationship, or you were married and had a family. And those of us who were single and enjoyed being single and loved it were kind of frowned upon, not frowned upon, felt sorry for. People felt sorry for us. And then as they, in their marriages, became less and less, I mean, not very many, but a few became less and less satisfied with their situation, would tell me things like, oh, you're so lucky to be on your own, and things like that. And I always reminded them of one little thing, and that is, when you got married and you looked at him with love, with expectations, and as you got on in your marriage, you became disillusioned, you became more expectant, you were not satisfied with the way things turned out, but it's a two-way street. He may have been dissatisfied with you as much as you were dissatisfied with him. So, let's stop and think for a minute here. Now, my situation was totally different. I was single because I liked being single. I wanted to raise my children alone, and that was the end of that. However, I did have a social life. I had a good love life. I had friends. I had my children, and when they were gone and on their own and starting their own lives, I had my volunteer work. I had things that I was always busy doing, and I had my work until I retired in 2010. Valentine's Day, I was going to say, Halloween, as a matter of fact. I retired Halloween weekend, and that is a joke in itself. But anyway, but there were times when I was working that friends would always wonder about me. I didn't always speak about my private life very often. I mean, aside from my children and then eventually my grandchildren. But when I was in my 50s, because that's kind of a crucial time when most of my friends' children are, they've left the nest or they're leaving the nest, or, and they're stuck with their husbands, or not stuck, they're happy with their husbands, whatever the case may be. They always think of, well, are you dating anyone, or are you doing this, or are you doing that? And I never really wanted to talk about it. It was nobody's business at work. I didn't think that was a good idea. And I never, once, not never, once I got involved with someone at work, biggest mistake of my life. And it didn't work directly with me, but that's not the point. It was just a disaster. It was the worst thing that ever happened. However, Valentine's Day, we're getting back to that as I go around in circles here. But Valentine's Day, One year I got annoyed, and um, friends, coworkers, they were all flashing what they got for Valentine's Day and where they went and what they did and blah, 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 blah. Even though, sometimes it was just to cover up that they were miserable. But anyway, so one year I got fed up with it, and I went to the florist. I filled out a card, and basically, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was probably something like, hope you have a great day or something. Um, and I had them delivered. I didn't bring them to work. I had them delivered to my office. And I worked in a very 26th floor building. I was on the 21st floor. So I had to go downstairs to get them, but everyone knew there's a call for you. You have to go downstairs, pick up a package, and, bringing them upstairs. And anyway, so that's what I started doing. Every Valentine's Day, I would send myself a bouquet of flowers with a nondescript type note on it. And that made me feel great. Great that the person that sent them to me had a good heart, which was myself, and that I loved who I was and what I was doing. So I never felt ashamed of being single, but I was just fed up with, well, didn't the tongue start wagging? Then one year, and I did that every Valentine's Day, but one year, I can't remember whether it was around my birthday. Of course, Valentine's Day's in February. My birthday's in April. So people remember the flowers from Valentine's Day. Well, around my birthday, I started sending myself once a week a bouquet of flowers. Hoping you're having a great week. Hope you have a great day. Thinking of you, blah, 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 whatever. And because it was spring and I don't know why, maybe I just turned 50. I don't remember the year, but I decided once a week I needed flowers. So I kept bringing in flowers. And everybody's tongue started wagging, wondering, who is she dating? Who's the new one in her life? Blah, 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 blah. So eventually, I stopped buying because it was getting expensive to buy flowers from the florist. I started buying them just, the $10 ones at the grocery store. And just because I loved having flowers around and I just loved spoiling myself. But I think that after that first time that I bought myself a bouquet of flowers, and didn't say who they were from and didn't elaborate, and it was nobody's business, and nobody would go any further than that with me. If I said, it's my business, then they left me alone, which was great. But the whole point, I think, of the story is that we don't always have to feel bad because we don't belong to a certain circle of people, whether it be, all married couples with children, or, maybe you belong to a community of I don't know. I can't even think right now. My mind has just gone kind of blank. But Valentine's Day for me, as I got older, became a day where I could spoil my grandkids. When my grandkids started growing up, when they started eating candy or, whatever, that's when I started to enjoy my Valentine's, because it was all for my kids. It was all for my grandchildren. And that's where the love is. And then I started doing acts of kindness things. And just out of the blue, I would do things. Because I did volunteer work, I knew a lot of people that were lonely and who were on their own, and sometimes by choice and sometimes not by choice. And so I used to buy them a little something. whether it be, Valentine's Day or whether it be near Christmas. Those were the two biggies. Easter sometimes, but not as often. And I think it's because Christmas and Valentine's are the two holidays that people really feel left out of the commercialism of it all, where they're not in a love relationship, they're not in they don't belong to a family unit, and things like that. A lot of things have changed over the years, but that was a really I don't know where I got um, not the independence, the courage to be alone, to be single, to be on my own, living in my own place. I don't know where that came from. I could say that I felt smothered as a child because I was spoiled and because I was told a lot of times, you're not strong enough, you're not old enough, to do whatever adventures I had planned in my big mind of mine. And then going from my parents' home to my husband's home, I never really felt like I was on my own. So when I got divorced after 13 years, because that's how long I was married, after 13 years of marriage, I felt free. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people are devastated, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm just telling my story. I felt free. I felt like I could do anything I wanted to do. If I wanted to sleep late or whatever, if I wanted to go out late, if I wanted to party, if I didn't want to party, I was never a big drinker. I mean, I did enjoy a cocktail, but I was never really a big, get drunk kind of drinker. I think I did that twice in my life, and both times were the biggest regrets of my life. But so I think it's probably part of my character or part of the fact that I always, my life, wanted to make my own decisions and to be in control. And the more I was on my own, I mean, yes, I dated, no, but the more I was on my own, the more I enjoyed it and the more freedom I felt. And I didn't have to answer to anyone except my God. I was able to, as an example, as a perfect example here, and it happens to people younger. If I was married, would my husband have agreed to allow me to take my mom in? I mean, I pondered that. Would he have? Decisions I made in my life with my children, would my husband have approved of those things? So, for me, being single, being on my own, it was a wonderful thing. I really, really enjoyed it. And maybe when Mom first moved in with me is why we had such a difficult time the first year or two. Because I was so used to being on my own, I wasn't a chatterbox. I wasn't really used to having people around during the day that I had to entertain day after day after day after day, which is what actually looking after Mom became. So for all those years of freedom, I look back on it as a blessing. And with having Mom now, I think that God decided that it was time for me to look after somebody and care for someone else who cared for me when I was young and learn some lessons, which I have learned. So I know I rambled on about all kinds of things, but I guess I just wanted to say that Valentine's Day has absolutely no meaning for me other than loving someone else. And for me, it was loving my children, my mom, my grandchildren, loving my ancestors, my dad, who has passed away for many years. It's about love. It's about love. Whether it be your neighbor, a stranger, your children, your grandchildren, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whoever it may be. I guess it's a day to say, I love you. I love you even when we have difficult times. I love you even whatever the reason may be. So maybe Valentine's Day, for those of us who have been single for many, many years, Valentine's Day is a day of remembering love, remembering all of the wonderful times and loves we've had in our life. And maybe that's what's good for us. And maybe you should buy yourself some flowers. Just go ahead and do it. If you love flowers, or if you're allergic, don't do it. Don't do it. Buy yourself some candy or go to a movie or do whatever you feel like that particular. Go buy a dress, go buy a shirt, a sweater, a blouse, a new pair of shoes, new purse, whatever it may be. If you're on your own, Valentine's Day can be a day to remember those that we love, those who have left us, and remember that God loves us and Jesus loves us. And we are very, very lucky people to be here. We are lucky that we are not, in an unfortunate situation. So those of us who are in an unfortunate situation, I hope you get help. I hope you get help as quickly as possible. And remember that Valentine's Day is a day of love, whoever that may be. And like Susan says on a little poet, even the neighbor who hates her. Anyway, guys, that's it for me for today. Thanks for joining me. I know I rambled on as usual, but all I could think about was it's okay to be on your own. It's okay to feel bad, but don't wallow in it. Lift yourself up. Look after yourself. Think of all of the loves that you had and think of how much they loved you. All right? And we love you. And from me and Mom, Valentine's Day is a couple of weeks away, and I just wanted to say, have a great time planning whatever it is you're planning, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.